Hello to everyone, welcome to the stream. It's your boy Ryjax. Welcome everyone to this wonderful time, if I may say so, that we're going to be having here. Oh my lord. Well, today is quite of a special stream, if I may say so, because we are about to have the talk. And I think it's time that we're about to have the talk of the current status of Habbo Origins. For the people who doesn't know who I am, my name is Ryjax. I've been a Habbo Origins streamer now for almost 1 year and been all around here with making content for Habbo Origins together with the community and the game itself for a little bit while. Not only as an official content creator, just as a regular community person as a whole. And so it has been lately a little bit hectic in Habbo Origins, as some people, maybe even you, who have been witnessing as well, that has been happening here all around in Habbo Origins. Basically, people are fed up. They're fed up about the situation that is happening ongoing about in Origins, whether it be the absolute inactivity, the communication from the devs and stuff like that, and abundance of other problems that we're gonna have a discuss on during for this whole stream and video that we're just about to just connect and talk about the issues that we are having at the game itself. We can start like this. So let's talk about like this past 3 months, right? The past 3 months that has been happening all around with the game itself. So let's start with let's see here. Let's talk about Streets of Babel, right? I wasn't much around during Streets of Babel, but I've been hearing about it, and obviously I've been witnessing the NPCs that are all around in the public rooms of what it was. It was like a faction wars and stuff like that, you know. I get to witness some pictures on the website and stuff like that. So basically, for the people who doesn't know what Streets of Baba is, Streets of Baba was like sort of like a faction war where people were supposed to be applying to join specific factions all around the public rooms. I'm part of like Shabulin monks. I don't know that they're in Port Hannah at least, where you can go fish. And these each faction, right, had should at least was supposed to have perks on each of that faction that you would be joining, right? You could have like better fishing, just better fishing skills or something like that, you know, better gardening, more XP, you know, stuff like that, you know, extra perks in general, right? But as all around, that didn't much happen. So pretty much they were just NPCs standing around in each of the public rooms. You would just get a cool badge, right? But there are no set of perks, right? So, and that was quite a while, like right now. That was like almost 3 months ago, if I'm right, 2 to 3 months ago. And nothing has been happening ever since then. So, all of that stuff that was happening, just nothing happened. Pretty much nothing as a whole of that event happened. It was just a cool thing. As far as I know, there was like 30s and stuff like that, right? But nothing else happened. That's it. That was the whole thing. Just cool faction, and we're still waiting for answers if they were going to bring it to that. So that was just Streets of Babel, right? Cool thing, right? It could have been something completely more, but didn't seem like it quite hit the mark. Then we go later to Harvest Grounds, which was Halloween event. So this is, in my opinion, like, let's talk about a little bit positivity here for the game, right? Harvest Grounds was, in my opinion, the best thing that has ever happened in Habbo Origins, right? Obviously, we had Steam launch as well. Steam launch was also around in the area as well afterwards. But Harvest Grounds was something else. So the people doesn't know what Harvest Grounds is. Harvest Grounds was the Halloween event where pretty much gardening was introduced somewhere around there as well, where you go farm pumpkins, other things like that. You could get pumpkin currencies. When you were getting pumpkin currencies, it was like you were trying to farm these pumpkins. But not only that, there was like you could get cosmetics, new furnace, new complete a lot of different things like cosmetics for your clothing, for your profile, for your furnace, everything. It was perfect. It was fun. There was so much things happening. Not only that, thanks to the introduction of gardening, we had a lot of things that we could do in Habbo, right? Because before we had fishing, right? Fishing was awesome in every way. I'm so happy that we have fishing, in my opinion, for quite some time. Obviously, it got a little bit, you know, stale after a while because of the XP grind and stuff, but they started to fix that. But then afterwards, we got gardening. And that became such a major thing for Habbo as well, because gardening was actually low-key fun. I had a great time doing gardening. I don't complain at all. You can get, just big trees and stuff like that. And it was amazing all around. So Harvest Grounds was the perfect event for Habbo, because you could get so many things. You could do so many things, and you just get highly rewarded for everything about that. Not only that, we had a little bit of sort of event. We had an event, but here's what a little bit negative part about that one. We had only, if I'm correct, one event. There was one singular event of that entire thing, and that was the building part. We had one singular event part, and that was the building one, which was very cool. I loved watching it. There was a lot of creative people and stuff. It was that. But if I'm correct, I got to hear rumors about the Halloween as well building. Someone was building it. No, actually, it wasn't that one. It was something else. It was something with AI. That was something with pixel art or something like that. I don't remember correctly, but it was something with that, right? That's just how Harvest Grounds were. But they were so good because there was new players popping in for the first time. For the first time, new players were popping in. And then after Harvest Grounds, more people started popping in thanks to the Steam. And then they got introduced a little bit for gardening and everything. I got to meet a whole brand of new people thanks to the Steam launch, right? And there was so many awesome, cool people that I got to meet. And I got to make very good contact with them. Even new people who have never played or touched Habbo ever got to play Habbo Origins. But then we had Neopets. And that was the first, sort of collab that Habbo Origins sort of had. Might be wrong on that, but still, as far as I remember. Neopets was this special thing that people used to play on the browser, It's a virtual pet game that you play on the browser. I never specifically played it, but I know some of you have. And the thing is about Neopets was very strange, right? Because they released the Neopets Furry line. There was a bunch of figurines, and stuff like that. And you could collect a bunch of these figurines. And during this whole, they had an event which was called Neobags. Neobags, you would go run around in public rooms every hour. They would spawn in each of the public rooms. And you would grab these Neobags to collect, because the more you collect, the more you can buy profile stuff. You had profile stuff, you had Fernie stuff, paintbrushes of different colors, and etc. Right? Rewards. And then but the problem was all the Neobags that you were trying to get for the new players as well. You had to fight other people for it, right? And not only top of that. So there was a bunch of alts running around and preventing the new players for grabbing those bags. So we had a major alt issue because people of the new player branch could not play. Not only that, new player branches were against each other. So it didn't really, get that sort of welcoming greeting for the new players all around, and it just became a battle of against each other. That became a whole problem, and that really demotivated a lot of people for not continuing the event as a whole, and it just made them very unmotivated. And because of the alts, it just became more problem for people to collect. But then a new event started to pop by, which was the treasure map. Treasure map you would acquire for getting pieces of activity all around the game, which would be chatting, trading, fishing, gardening, everything around, every single activity you can think of, right? So everything you did in Habbo, you would get a treasure piece. Now here's the problem. So obviously, in certain ways, most of the time you would get a treasure piece was from gardening. Gardening was mostly the people went for, right? Sometimes you would get fishing if you were lucky, but most of the time people would go for gardening because that's how you get faster treasure pieces. And another problem is when most of the people finished with treasure pieces, most people don't usually continue with it unless you're like me, who's trying to help the community to finish their maps, because you would get a star nameplate on your profile and you would get your secret laboratory map, right? But these pieces are not easy, by the way. Getting, for example, a 14 fragment, right? It's called F14. That is the fragment of the hardest fragment to get in the whole game. You need that to enable to finish the map. And not a lot of people acquired it. And it became a major problem that people had to spend a lot of like specific furnace just to get it. And it became a problem for them to finish these maps. And it just in general, there was also like other pieces as well that people were missing. But you know, the more people were finishing as well, the more people didn't really want to continue on it and just let it happen. You know, and the more people finished, the more people other people couldn't finish as well. Because as soon as they got to finish map, they were like done. And I was like, oh boy. That became as a whole of a problem. But my biggest anger of Habbo Origins, it was these past 2 to 3 weeks. So during these past 3 weeks, we had major problems with scheduling. So every week, Tuesday and Fridays, Tuesdays we would get rares. Fridays we get Funky Fridays. Funky Friday is a 24 item thing that is special that they would deliver on Fridays, right? And Tuesdays are just regular rares that they have been sending out, right? They were delayed, I think, about 2 to 3 times on these weeks. I don't know what happened, but they had major problems on delivering it on the dates and just posted on the next day. But most of all, events were not happening. In the middle of the weeks that has been happening in Habbo Origins, it's dead. There's nothing happening there. Only in the week of like Sunday or maybe even Saturdays, community would mostly take care of that problem, right? At least those who had the time to spend and, you know, deliver event for the community. Usually the streamers as me, content creators, or just very highly driven community players as a whole who builds like mazes, you know, races and stuff like that, did events. But there was no staff events and barely any communication about anything in the past 2-3 weeks. And not only that, this week, we didn't get a rare and a Funky Friday. So that whole week is vanished. There is nothing to do, pretty much. So the dryness was real. There's not much to do except for trying to make something of your own pocket, right? And it became a hell of a problem. And nobody knows like what happened in between there at all. So it's been very silent as a whole. All I know is I heard that Mackleby is like having a break. Mackleby is still pretty much the big dev guy who's taking care of everything. But nobody else is like taking care of the rest. And I'm like wondering what the hell is going on. So nothing was happening in between there either. Then, not only that, the biggest thing that has been happening as of lately, people getting randomly banned. Now, I don't know exactly the details of all of each ban and stuff, but there are a few people getting banned really quickly here and there. People have been vanishing a lot lately, right? And there are claims that there's like this AI like tools that have been registering throughout the game now. That's been taking care if you say something that doesn't like, you know, might be either not that big of a deal, but it registrates and then you get banned on that. And people have been trying to get over to Zendesk, right? Now, Zendesk has been a big topic at the moment for Habbo Origins because people have been sending over, at least like these past 2 years now, like one and a half year, right? Where Zendesk, they've been using the support system. Not a lot of people have been having answers from them. Zendesk has been absolutely disastrous. People have been begging for help for like minor things or something like that, or just, you know, in between, we're like, oh, what do we do? How do we get unbanned? Or just like, you know, stuff like minor issues. Zendesk has been given, just as you said here in the chat, very robotic answers, not really any clear direction. It just pretty much like the Zendesk completely flips you off. It just doesn't matter at all. That Zendesk does absolutely nothing. I know even streamers of Habbo Origins that have been trying to get a hold of people within the staff or anything, to just like for certain things, either from Zendesk or even then, there has been absolutely no answers. It's an absolute disastrous moment, pretty much. So now everyone is pretty much rioting because there's no support at all. The moderation of the game has been just crazy as of lately. And, well, it has been for, if I have to be honest though, I have to be honest about this. The moderation as a whole has been a very questionable thing. Obviously, shout out to my fellow Hobbas. I love you all as well. Speed and you guys who are in the advice room. You guys do help a lot and stuff like that. You know, we have Christmas soon, right? And the Christmas is always a vibe, usually with the people. We just sit around, you know, together. But the major big question is like, okay, what are they going to be planning now? Let me ask you this, everyone who's watching here. What do you believe is necessary for Habbo Origins to take the next big step for the future generation, for them to succeed more now. Because obviously, as in terms of player base, we are at like a very low amount. We had Steam and everything that people were popping by in and everything, and absolute new people were coming from, even from my side, from the Swedish side. Like a lot of new Swedish people came in as well, and that was like surprising for me, because 90% of that community vanished ages ago, and then finally something brand new happening, and they came from here. And it just introduced, it was the best feeling ever. And that's why I said Harvest Grounds with the Steam launch was the perfect moment. The marketing, obviously, of Habbo Origins hasn't been the greatest as of all, because they've just been pretty much focusing on the game, but at the same time, it hasn't really gone into their favors and direction at the same. We don't know. They should, as you say here, Forn, they should have pushed it harder on their marketing. With the Steam, I feel like that was their biggest success, of just grabbing as much people as possible, which was happening because we had around 1,000 people as most of it. Now, obviously, there was always going to be some alts and stuff here and there, because they were trying to, abuse the Steam, where you would get a free box if you reached level 14, not 14, 15 gardening or fishing, and they would get a free Steam box, which you have like a big chance of getting Fernies or a big rare or anything like that, right? But overall, new players started to pop by, and it was the best time and feeling, and I was glad to return to Habbo, because not only that, because the Harvest Grounds generally felt like, oh, the developers are putting so much passion into the game. For the first time I ever felt this. That is, I've been around since 2024. I have been through it all, pretty much, with the game. The Battle Ball incident, the Habbo incident, pretty much the pirate event, just in general of all the events, the game was at peak of Harvest Grounds. And I hope to God that Maccabee or someone, or just trying to do their best, like, to please listen to the community, because the way the things are handled are just dreadful, man. And this isn't the first time I rant about this. I did it 2024 when I completely rage quit from the game. 2024 Christmas, because the communication wasn't there, the passion wasn't there, and I don't know. I'm still questioning, like, what do they need to do? Do they need to change up the team, or do whatever changes within? Are they going to be showing us a next roadmap? Or what are their biggest, like, thoughts and stuff like that? No matter what, I genuinely hope they still push up the activity or functions or, UI or whatever that they showcase. They just gotta talk to us, man. Because as of right now, it's sad, man. I love Habbo Origins. I spent so many days, weeks, months with the community trying to, be there for them. And I wish I could do so much more. Shout out to all the community people in Habbo Origins, making Habbo the way it is. Absolutely welcoming, awesome. Shout out to Bob Barker for Baba.me and the team who makes it over there. Shout out to Dovak for all the mazes. Shout out to Spider Sites with all the communication that he does with the events. Shout out to every single community creator and every single Habbo player who's trying to make the game fun. Because without you, this game would be nothing. This game would be absolutely goddamn nothing. I was hyped with the staff these past 2 months when they actually put the effort, when they put these events, when they talk to us, when they connect with us, when they show their passion to the game, when they're planning, what they're cooking and everything. That's what brought me back in. But instead, we're getting silence. Again. And I'm really, really tired of it. It's certainly for me, like, I've thought about my future, like, and just everything as well with the game. I'm planning on just other games to be spending on, and my, energy and passion for other games where I could bring that to the community instead, or work with the company if I ever get a chance like that, right? But I just feel like we're getting shunned away. And it's painful. I don't know what else I'm going to be honestly to be saying here, but I appreciate everyone who's here watching this and listening to these, like, concerns. I hope I really, really do that they're listening to us. I really do hope that they're going to work the moderation Hope they make the community feel more safe, more activity, more stuff to be hyped about. I really hope they fix some of these stuff that they have already implemented in the game, and I hope they do everything else. I really hope we also get some new players who's willing to come back to give Habbo one more time. I can tell you by this, over the past 2 months, people have been popping into this stream, witnessing my stream, and they're like, oh my god, I love Habbo, and I'm so happy that you're streaming this as well. This is like nostalgia for me. And I tell them, dude, come here, join us. I will give you that authentic Habbo experience. I get to show you the people. I get to, I'm going to show you how to have fun. And we're going to have a great time. Let's see here. I'm going to read as well here. I'm an OG Habbo player returning to Origin, but the state of the game and the state of moderation, the bugs is making me really not want to sink more time, money into it. And I completely understand that. You shouldn't feel that way. And nobody should ever feel that way. For a game as Habbo that could be something so much more greater, but for some reason, we just collapse. It's crazy because when I look at other developers like nowadays, I just feel like I get that same passion from them. They're like, I want to make it succeed. I want to make it join them. But for some reason, when it comes to Habbo, it's just like, what? Same resources. Let me see. I hope there's not any single other event where you have to compete for the same resources, rewards with others. It breaks bonds and people apart. I humbly agree. I hope they work a little bit more like community activities together as a whole, instead of these like battling where everybody, and especially with the alt behaviors that we get as well, like people can join and have a good time. Also, a little bit solo activity is not really that bad, but the way this was happening during the Neopets needs to be changed, in my opinion. As a brand new Habbo player on Steam release, I was genuinely surprised to see such a rocky start with events, bugs, delays. It felt like the idea was there, but the execution was a miss. Yeah, a lot of people were... I was hyped at first. I think the biggest success with Neopets was the Horizon. This was sort of my rant for Habbo Origins. I'm not alone with this. You guys have seen as well Stinky Wilfie's tweet on Twitter about the whole thing as well. He has also been ranting. The buzz is not there in Habbo Origins. We can only hope for better times that the game will get to the changes. I hope a staff is here listening to me. I may not maybe say the things that need to be changed, but I hope they understand the genuine pain of this entire community who's here watching, listening, and begging for a change. Or at least some shred of passion that you guys are showing. And I love Habbo Origins. I will always do so. I love my community. I love the players. I love everything about it. And I hope to God, one beautiful day, you guys will see that. But yeah, I just want to say this. So thank you so much, everyone, for hearing my rant. If you do like this and everything, don't forget to like and subscribe on the video. I'm going to be posting this later today as well. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching here, and I appreciate it. And I see you guys next time. Critical hit.